Hey there, I'm Manuela Hernandez with Web3 TV, and joining me here we have Ed from Satributes, also known as Snoop Frog. Okay, so you're going to show us a little demo of your gaming console today. Can you tell me a little bit more about it?
Of course. So this is an Android-based gaming machine. Can be used in a number of capacities. You can plug it into a TV and use it like a normal computer or games console, but you can also plug it into virtual and augmented reality headsets. Traditionally headsets that would only function when tethered to a desktop PC on the floor. So it's the first time that you can start walking around wearing VR and AR headsets that are not big, heavy machines on your face. That we call Curve. Effectively, you plug this into a TV, a monitor, a projector, any traditional display, a mouse, a keyboard, a gamepad. You use it like a normal desktop computer. The difference is this is the world's most powerful Android device, so we can play any existing content that you get on Android. We have the added benefit that through our partner Shadow, we can do a full Windows operating system that's cloud delivered. So if you have access to the internet, you can pixel stream a very powerful Windows machine. And so this is a next generation games console. It runs on 15 watts, so it's very power efficient. Games console, a computer. Well, in this instance, we plug it in. I have a projector or a TV, I can plug it straight in. And this thing is like an Xbox or a PlayStation. But when you want to start, and you, again, now I've got mice here, I've got keyboards, I've got gamepads, and you use it like you normally would. But when you want to do VR and AR gaming, disconnect the computer from what is now a charging station. And this is a computer, and this is the battery. You click them together, and you put them in a sling, like this. Once you have this in the sling, then you can put your sling on, and what you now have is an untethered solution, where you're free to walk around. And you're free to plug in glasses like these, made by partners till 5, that traditionally would plug into a desktop computer. But when you are now able to plug this into desktop quality horsepower that is both portable and affordable and powerful, you can now start doing some really cool stuff. So I want to give you a demo of what we're showing off today.
What did you think of the Apple Vision Pro headset?
I think Steve Jobs will be rolling in his grave. And in fact, I had a conversation with Randy Adams, someone who founded companies with Steve Jobs, and in fact is a member of our Satributes community, and he agrees. It's a product that was pushed down to consumers that wasn't really meant to be. And I say this firsthand because I built that prototype 7 years ago with our partner NVIDIA. And I saw back then the limitation of even if you take a battery out of the headset, you clip it on your belt, you're still going to be left with something that is too heavy for people to use for more than 20 minutes at a time. So I'm quite happy to say, mark my words, in a few weeks you'll see a lot of reports of people saying the headset's simply too heavy. And a few weeks later you'll see reports of Apple saying they're making a head strap. And a few weeks later you're going to see reports of Apple charging for that head strap, and people are going to be livid because ultimately that is not the way forwards. But I think the reason why we've seen year after year, after I very publicly showcased all-in-one VR headsets for 7 years that had the battery decoupled, the reason these companies are not making headsets that are lightweight is because they don't want to become TV manufacturers. They want to make sure they have the App Store inside the headsets so that they can control their ecosystem. The moment they take the computer out their headset, they're allowing people to plug those headsets into anything. They become TVs with extra sensors, and that scares every manufacturer out there.
Right, but I think that's what Apple has been so good at doing, is developing this ecosystem and like making people dependent on their products. Having the iPhone, having the Mac, having the cloud, everything is like in one ecosystem, doesn't want to make you leave it, really.
So Apple has a great approach. They have the full stack. They create their hardware, they create their software, they can dial it in so you get a better user experience on their technology than you can on anything else. It's very much a model that we follow. In fact, we have a lot of people, the people that designed a lot of Apple's products for 20 years are the people that designed our product, because I like Apple's model, but I liked it under Jobs when it was do more for less, when they were competing with IBM. That model changed. I know firsthand what it can be like to be under the pressure of boards and advisors and people telling you to do things, not necessarily because you want to. And I feel sorry for Tim Cook, because I don't think he even wanted that product to go out, but nonetheless, I think he was probably pressured into putting that out. We need Ray-Bans. We need pairs of sunglasses that are less than 100 grams or 50 grams.
But the Google Glass, that didn't take off.
It depends how you look at Google Glass. Google Glass, in my opinion, was a huge success, because what Google does, they're not hardware manufacturers. Google make operating systems. So they very cleverly realized components were getting smaller and cheaper and powerful enough to actually put on your face. And so they came out saying, hey, hardware world, look what we can do. And they basically tricked the entire hardware world to rush out and start building wearable technology. And then they stopped building hardware because they're not hardware companies. And then they say, hey guys, you probably need an operating system. Here's Android Wearable. And then they get all of that lovely juicy data from all of these wearable devices. So yeah, I mean, it was a huge success for Google. I wouldn't say it's a failure in any shape or form. Gaming, Web3, digital assets, artwork, creativity, innovation, these are the things that Web3 and specifically ordinals encapsulates. What I've seen in NFTs and what I now see in ordinals is a brief glimmer of hope where we're seeing creatives overcoming friction and building stuff that people want to see. And so if we can now take the technology that we spent 12 years and millions of R&D on, and we start to give them to these content creators that are already creating amazing content, then they're going to create the stuff that Web 2 is going to pay attention to. And so I want my device to be the catalyst to start bringing money from Web 2 into Web 3 again.
And you think Bitcoin-based NFTs are more powerful than NFTs built on other chains?
Without any shadow of a doubt.
Why so?
Well, okay, so when we look at what Bitcoin is and we look at what Ethereum is, if I were to send you an Ethereum, you wouldn't get the same ETH that left my wallet. It's a balance sheet update. If I send you a Bitcoin, you do get that same Bitcoin, which means you can start tracing back these Bitcoin, these individual Satoshis to their point of creation, which means you can then find Satoshis that were mined by Nakamoto, mined by Hal Finney, mined by interesting people in Bitcoin's history. And that, as a medium, is interesting. It's a big, audacious, hairy goal.
It is. I know. That sounds really overwhelming.
It's a lot to take on it. But in all honesty, I've done 10 years of grinding in Web 2. I never want to go back to Web 2 ever again. And so I'm going to do everything I can to make sure this thing works. And I would hope other people in the space do the same. I call it the marshmallow test. You know, if you can't not eat a marshmallow today to get 2 marshmallows tomorrow, then you're probably not meant to be in this space. And so, yeah.
All right. I love it. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Ed.
Thank you very much.